My name is Harrell Pickett, and we're from, and my wife came this morning. Her name is Linda. We came from Gum Cove, Louisiana, and that's in southwest Calcasieu Parish. It's a little rural area. There, we're surrounded by three large landowners. Like I said, there's just a handful of us live in that area. We're a cow-calf producer from that area. We're like 25 miles from the Gulf of Mexico, and we're just 7 miles south of I-10 in that area. And I'm going to talk about the hurricanes, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. Since I say I've been on this earth, there's been 5 major hurricanes that I went through. The first one is in 1957 with Hurricane Audrey. Back then there wasn't a lot of technology out there like there is today to tell you that the storms are coming, and the loss of life was, they had over 500 people plus that lost their life in that. A lot of those people are our friends and family, because my wife is also from Cameron Parish. And, people are just not going to leave thinking it's not going to happen to them is what, how they think about it. So as you move along in this century so far, we've gone through 4 hurricanes. We have. We went through Rita, and again, we stayed for Rita, and after that episode, we said we'd never do that again. I don't encourage anybody to want to stay. I mean, I know everybody feels like they should, but there's nothing you can do. You can't call 911 and they're going to respond to you or anything. You're going to be a couple of days before you can actually do anything around your place. And that's how we looked at it after going through that. It's an experience you'd want to experience it, I'll say, but it's just, you think hell is there with you. I can tell you that right now. In these last 2 storms that came, starting with Laura, we left out, we boarded everything up, we got all our stuff ready, we got our cattle out to the furthest out pasture. So in case of the flood water, we wasn't sure about the storm surge or anything. And we tried to get them away from the road in case the fences went down or anything like that before we got back home. And again, the cattle are going to need fresh water. The brackish water, they can tolerate up to a point, but then they need that fresh water right after these storms and get them back on the whatever pasture, the best stuff you can, after that happens. Again, preparing, when we left and everything, we boarded up the houses. We had to do our house and my dad's house also. Got all our important papers and brought with us. Again, at that time, you're going to be talking to people you never talked to before. If you call your insurance people, it's going to be somebody you don't know. They're from, a lot of times from another state before you can't get to the people you want to talk to. I encourage you to also find out, like at your insurance people, find out every cell number you can from your agents, because the number you're going to call, like in Lake Charles, I'll say, all you're going to get is a recording, and during that period of time, they're not going to call you back for who knows how long, even if they do call you back. So it's going to be left up to you totally to sustain whatever you got to do to get your place going back and get it going back. Like when we left, we went to Mississippi. We come back the same day that evening. We were able to get back on I-10 and, come on back home. And, as we got to like Welch and Lacasine and Iowa. You could see the devastation starting to show. You could see where it was green, it's all brown on account of the wind. Just strips everything. It looks like went through there with a torch, is what it looks like. As we got off the interstate there in Benton, when we started going back to our place, you know, the first place we come to was one of our friends and neighbors. You know, the roof is gone off of that house. And then the next house, the barn is totaled. You know, you keep going along, and I can only imagine what our place is going to look like. And then we end up, there's a huge high line that passes there. And then when all that high line, you know, the poles and all the wiring and everything is down on the ground, you drive over it. And all these years I've been passing underneath it, I knew we were in trouble at that point. So when we got home, you know, we looked out there, the house looks good. So when we drove, we couldn't drive up the driveway because of all the trees were across the driveway. And we had to go through the pasture to get there. And once we got there, our shop was totaled. The east side of the house, the tin on the roof was gone, plus a hole in the roof, which was for no tree or nothing. It just, the wind took it from that corner is what happened. So at that point, my goal was to try to put something on that roof to keep further damage, you know, from happening out there. We put tarp on. Later on, we finally got us a contractor in there. They've actually put tarp on 3 times before they ever made it stay, with the wind that kept coming through. And then when Delta came back through, and, you know, again, we're trying to minimize everything. Our restoration process is ongoing. Like I said, we're going into the 6th month. You know, they said we're going to be in there. We should have been there in Christmas. Then it was the end of January. Now here's the end of February, and we're still going to look for another month, I feel, before we get in there. Again, we're staying in an RV in the front yard. If you go through this, I encourage you to, you know, you got to be there with these contractors. You can't just let them go and trust what they're going to tell you. We end up having to use a contractor, you know, out of Texas. And, you know, they want to sub everything, so you got to watch the subs they use, you know, out there. We've already let one sub go on account of the work they wasn't doing right. You don't want to pay them in advance any more than you got to. They want to take everything you got from the insurance company. When they pay you, they want that money. They're bound and determined to get every penny of that money. And you should be bound and determined not to give it to them. That's a lesson learned. Again, I'll go back to preparation. You're going to need fuel, stockpile of fuel. You're going to need your generators and chainsaws working. Don't think they're going to start. If you stored them a year ago, it don't work that way. So you need to get out there at least once a month and start them up and see if they work. Again, water, non-perishable items. Going back to the little town where we're closest to, the market basket there is still closed since, I say, Laura hit. They keep saying they're going to open. We hope to open next month. You know, all that stuff is short supply. I mean, don't think you're going to get in your truck or your car and you're just going to go to town and start buying like you used to, because it don't work that way. You know, there's people in the same condition you are in. That's the thing. You got to remember that. Again, I'll go back to the insured. We've been fortunate with our insurance company, you know, out there where they've worked with us, we worked with them. I encourage people who have, I say tractors, we insured our tractors, which is minimal money as far as I'm concerned. That kind of equipment, we didn't put it in the shop or the barn. I put them out, I stagger them out there in the pasture. And I've seen too many people put them up in a barn and they come and the whole barn's on top of them. You're not able to get to them. The other church organizations are very good to get with, especially putting roofs, temporary roofs on. Again, I encourage people to stay in touch with their churches on that. Let's see. Going back to the insurance again, I know Linda, she knows more about our policies than the insurance guy does right now, I can tell you. And again, you want to carry that with you wherever you go, because that's going to be your lifeline right there. Fences, I've never seen devastation on fences since I've been on this earth. I mean, it was just amazing how a sheet of tin could just take they're going to take 5 or 6 posts out, first thing, and then get entangled in the barbed wire, and you just can't hardly get it out of there. You got to cut it out. Any kind of vines and trees, it just takes out all your fence right there. Again, if you got trees close to your house or your barn or your shop, you need to, I say, trim them up before this, before this coming hurricane season, if you hadn't done that. We actually did that last July. If we wouldn't have done that, we would have no house to go to and no shop to go to. I was telling Stuart, when we moved there, we planted trees every year. I always wanted a place that had trees on it. And that place was just rice and cattle is what it was. And we planted trees. We'd go to the Beauregard Nursery, pick up a couple hundred trees every year for a while, and planted all hardwood, along the way. And it's hard to imagine. Most probably half of them are gone now. And I got piles of trees at home that would fill this room right here. You can't put them by the road. They want you to put them by the road to pick them up, and there's not enough room. So we make 4 big piles and burn them and rack it up again and go get some more and put them in there again, and burn them again. So we've got a lot of that left to do. And I'll say in closing, I just want to acknowledge a couple guys at the LSU Cockshoe agent, Jimmy Moe, also LSU Cameron agent, Bradley Pousson, and Louisiana Cattlemen Association, Dusty Pendergrass over there. Those guys have helped us a lot on this fencing project, and they're still helping us. So, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to ask.
Does the insurance do anything on the fencing?
Yeah, no, but the USDA has a program out that's helping on the fencing. But the fencing, they'll do a little bit on the trees going to your house so you can get in and out your house is what they'll do. But nothing, at least our policy didn't at all. You're on your own there.
Did you lose cattle?
No, we did not lose any. Some of the surrounding neighbors, like a tree would fall on a cow, but I hadn't heard any substantial loss at all in our area anyway. So.
You said you moved your cattle Where did you go with the cattle?
I move them as far back from the property as I can, away from the road fence.
Oh,
Okay, so
they
road
stay on
fence.
you just moved them on your plate.
Yes.
Moved them out.
Yes, with all these hurricanes, we hadn't had to move our cattle off the property. Whereas, like I say, in Cameron Parish, they got to move their cattle. Or they're not gonna be there.
What's the elevation around your house?
7 foot pasture land, 10 foot at the house is what it is. When we built the house, I'll say up that much. In hindsight, back then, 40-something years ago, I wish we'd have built it more, but it is what we've been fortunate so far.
Did you get storm surge, salt water on your?
Yeah, well, on the back, we got a ditch that comes through our property halfway through it, and that comes from the intercoastal. And it comes on the back side there, and most probably about 30 to 40 acres will get that, brackish water on it. And other than that, we've been fortunate.
What kind of shape is it in now? You got enough rain on it to leach that salt
Oh,
water?
yeah. It'll burn, like I say, right the edge of it, where it's right along the canal, even out where it stays over a little while, but the rain, once that rain hits it and flushes it, it's okay. And actually, that grass is hard to believe it. A little bit of that salt water will make that grass look like you fertilized it. I mean, you'll say it's dead today, and a week from now, you'll say, man, I fertilized this thing. It's hard you'd have to see it to believe it.
And it takes out a little smudge grass and corporate grass too.
It will. Yeah. Thank you.